Greetings, programs. NeoMegaMan back again for part 15, yes indeed, of Let's Play Katawa Shoujo, Shizune's Path. I kind of pulled a dick move last time. Let's make up for that, shall we? Why? It's a surprise. I decide to humor her and close them. I can feel her leaning over me, and suddenly something soft and moist touches my lips. My body tenses up in surprise. Fortunately, not as awkward a reaction as I could have made. It was just a quick peck, and I almost think that's the end of it. But then she kisses me again, more deeply this time. Her hands slide onto my shoulders, up to my neck, and then back down again. Then across my shoulders and down my arms. I can feel the weight of her body on my legs, and the eroticism of the situation is not lost on me. At this point, I'm ready to try to open my eyes just a crack, but as if expecting it, she puts her fingers on my eyelids. Seconds later, something ties my hands together at the wrists, and I panic, not knowing what to make of this. My first thought is to ask Shizune what she's thinking. Even though she can't hear me, I'm sure she gets the gist of it. She won't let go of my hands, tracing her finger over them, from the lines of my palms over my knuckles into my wrists. Oh my god, they didn't censor it. Okay, folks, just to prove it, I'm going to go ahead and look at the options. I have adult content disabled, and yet here we are looking at this particular scene. The current music track is also fairly unique, letting my heart speak. I think there's only 2 instances of this particular track in the entire game. Or maybe it's 2 instances of this track in every path. Hell, I don't know. Anyway, what the hell am I doing talking about options and crap? We got a fucking sex scene to go through. Hey, what are you doing? What's this? Of course, with my hands tied behind my back, I might as well be gagged. A part of me can't help but think this is what she intended. As if reading my thoughts, a mischievous expression lights up her face, but her blushing doesn't fade. In fact, it only deepens as our eyes meet. Yeah, this... I'm going to go ahead and take a small break here to explain something. This perfectly encapsulates everything about Shizune that you ever need to know. She's such a control freak that A, she's seducing Hisao, and B, she effectively ball-gagged him. With, like, a tie or something. Embarrassed, she leans deeper into our partial embrace, hiding her face by burying it in my shoulder and neck. Her hair is soft and tickles me, and I let out a laugh, knowing that she won't hear me and won't be offended. It's a melon! Never mind! Oh! Well, wait a minute, what the hell? You know what? That's the worst. Oh, Jesus, that was terrible. That was god-awful. Wow. I don't even know, man. Alright, you know what? You know, I'm gonna say fuck that. Just fuck entirely all of that. I'm also gonna... normally I would stop the recording for something that god-awful happening, but it's also so incredibly amusing that I have to let you guys see it. Wow! Oh, Jesus! I have never... Okay, I'm gonna confess, I've never before played through this game with the adult content turned off. So, here's what I'm gonna do. I don't think there's anything that's necessarily too bad visually for this one. If there is, I'll have a way to censor it out. But you guys deserve to hear this particular description, if nothing else. What the hell was that, man? Ugh. God, that was awful. Okay, next. Shizune's hands move downward to the fly of my pants, covered by her skirt, so you can't see a damn thing. Her hands disappear from view, only to jerk back on touching my erection. Shizune almost falls off me from nervousness. It's like she didn't expect it to be there. How could it not be? The sudden display of naivete is the starkest contrast yet to how forward she's been so far, and I find it amusing. Suddenly, she seems very immature again. A high school girl playing the role of a more aggressive woman. She pokes at my penis curiously with her index finger, her face reddening as she runs the rest of her fingers down its underside. Her movements are soft and curious, and they belie the embarrassed look on her face. It's likely Shizune is as nervous as I am, so I'm a bit relieved when she stops her exploratory prodding, but then I think about what's next to come. She might try and unbutton my shirt. Who knows what she would say, seeing the scar on my chest. I was still self-conscious about it, and I can imagine the concern on her face seeing it, the tenting of her fingers in thought. Luckily, in this position she couldn't take off my sweater without ripping it off of me. The fear fades from my mind. Now I'm only experiencing a strange, uncomfortable mix of anticipation and nervousness. It's called anxiety, he said. A newfound lightness on my knees brings me back to reality, and I can see Shizune standing on the tips of her toes to slide her underwear down her thighs. When she sees me looking at her, she tries to cover my eyes with one hand. Cute. I wonder exactly when it was that I started being attracted to her. Not just attracted to her physically, but drawn to her. And I wonder why. She's pretty, but then also very combative. Not just that, but she seems to like being that way. See, you can't see a damn thing. Why was this censored so badly? Probably just the foul language. Whatever. The way she's acting now, however, and at other times, doesn't really fit that image, and I'm starting to think that maybe her tying my hands might have been for more reasons than just the obvious. Still, that aggressiveness that she flashes around as comfortably as a business card is real. I don't know whether or not that kind of attitude could be considered dangerous. If it is, I wonder what kind of person that makes me. Answer, an idiot! At least he's a lucky idiot. It was probably the first week I was here. A week doesn't sound so long when I think about it, but at the time it did. Even though I pretty much thought my days were numbered that week, it still seemed to go by so slowly. Even if she can't hear me saying it puts me at ease. I started to realize that I didn't have much to complain about, but there's still... well, never mind. She glances at me for no other reason than I'm talking. Because she can't understand what I'm saying, Shizune becomes increasingly flustered, but doesn't sign anything in reply. Shizune sucks in her breath sharply as she lowers herself down onto my penis, trying to keep herself upright as she teeters on top of me. The hem of her skirt covers both our intimate parts and traps our body heat under it like a tent. Under it I feel unbearably hot, and Shizune's hand guiding me into her only adds to it. The second I penetrate her, Shizune winces and then nearly falls on top of me. The sudden sensation is mind-numbing, and I feel waves of pleasure radiate throughout me from both ends of my body. It feels as if my entire lower body is enveloped in the warmth and wetness of Shizune's body, able to feel her every twitch and shudder as she starts moving. Shizune begins rocking her hips back and forth, at first slowly, but with her tempo increasing each time she pulls herself almost completely off of me, only to plunge back down at the last second. Being so close to her, I can see the sweat beating on her skin and the fog that forms on her glasses when they slide down her nose and too close to her mouth before she pushes them back up. Her fingertips press into my shoulders, holding onto them to steady herself, pushing against them to pull herself off of me, and then running back down my arms and grasping for my wrists and hands as she pushes herself back down. Maneuvering around like this is difficult at best. Shizune tries to brace herself against me while pushing herself up and down with her feet. I attempt to kiss her, but only manage to succeeding in touching our foreheads together, at least not painfully. My thoughts wander briefly to whether or not the door is locked. If it were to open now, I'd probably have a heart attack, literally. And then there's the question of who would be opening the door. The sense of danger only serves to make Shizune's movements more torturous. I wish she would speed up, but from this position it may not even be possible. I start moving my hips upwards in rhythm with her, trying to drive myself deeper into her. It doesn't matter to me that my movements are shaking the chair we're on, creating a loud knock as the wooden chair raps against the wooden floor. She seems to like it too. Her breathing grows louder, and even sounds like suppressed moans escape her throat. Though it's obvious she wants to hold them in, they're still loud enough that they'd be audible to anyone standing outside the door. I stop thrusting into Shizune, partly because it's harder to keep up with her as she starts getting more and more into it, and moving faster than I can manage to match while under her. My heart races so quickly that I can almost hear the blood pounding in my temples, and more worryingly, I can feel a dull throb in my chest. I stop thinking about the pressure I feel between my thighs, if only for a moment. That moment, though, is enough. Combined with the tightness of her squeezing herself around me and the sensation of her skin rubbing against mine, I tense up and fire off inside Shizune, a fleeting feeling of power and flight. Afterwards, I listen to the sound of my heartbeat slowing down until it reaches the normal rhythm. I listen to the sound of Shizune's breathing as it does the same. Her glasses are slightly askew, and this is the first time she isn't messing around with them in some way. I want to straighten them for her, but the second I try, I'm reminded I can't. Shizune seems to have forgotten it as well. Instead of getting up, she presses herself against me in the chair to extend her reach. It's almost as if this is the only position she can think of to untie my hands from. That's what I think as I feel her unbinding my wrists. However, she doesn't get off of me. Her fingers gently stroke against mine, occasionally bending inwards to run over my palms. It's funny, but I feel more connected to Shizune through this simple act than before. Shizune stays pressed up against me like this for some time. It's a little uncomfortable, but it makes me feel happy, as if I could stay like this for hours. Whew. Okay, that was an adventure. And the fun part is, I don't have to edit this video. There was nothing there. There was nothing there to be concerned about. The days since then have passed so quickly that the time seemed to slip through my fingers like water. Every time I've tried to talk with Shizune, she's been out running errands or with Misha. I feel as if she's avoiding me. I'm not surprised. Of course it bothers me, but I think the way she's acting seems pretty natural. Then again, it's not as though I've been through this before. Hi, Misha. that fucking shirt! Oh god. Whenever I can't find Shizune, I end up running into Misha, and when I do ask her to help me with my signing, I ask her to help me with my signing. However, she always ends up squirming out of it. We're leaving after today, so I'm determined not to let her escape this time. Once we head back to school, we're probably going to have to start grinding through more student council affairs in preparation for school restarting. I want to brush up on my signing as much as possible by then, even if it's only a day's worth. Come on, it's pretty much just having a couple of sign language conversations. You do that all the time. Actually, you're doing it right now. Really, Hichan? That's funny. Misha temporarily stops her unconscious signing in order to wave her hands in front of her face in denial, but then quickly resumes gesturing everything both of us are saying to no one in particular. Hichan, you're so persistent, suddenly being interested in sign language again. Could it be that Hichan wants to make a career out of it? That's not fair, that was my idea first. You should be careful, Hichan. Times change too quickly. By the time I decided I wanted to be a sign language interpreter, they had cell phones that people could type out whole paragraphs on. Amazing. Not very good for me, though. It's as if she knows that another deferral isn't going to cut it this time. Misha changes her tune pretty quickly to a more apologetic one. I'm sorry, Hichan. I'm just so tired. Especially lately. Even though being with Shichan is fun, she has way more energy than me. Teaching on top of that would be too tiring. I don't have that much stamina. Sorry. She doesn't seem very tired, shouting the statement with her usual cheer and vigor. I know it's wrong of me to keep pestering her like this, though. Actually, Shichan and I were planning on going shopping today. It's our last chance to pick up some souvenirs. Souvenirs, huh? I almost forgot that I was on vacation. I understand what you're saying. Teaching doesn't seem so easy. Hideaki asked me to teach him how to sign, and I was unbelievably lost the whole time. I wonder how it'll work out for you when you become a sign language teacher. You can't get tired too easily doing that. Yeah, right. I hope not. Hee-chan, now I'm kind of worried. But souvenirs, so some other time, Hee-chan. Do you want us to get you something too? Just because I understand doesn't mean I don't want her to teach me. I suppose I can't press any further now, though. Even if I'm bothered by how selfish it would seem to do so, I give up. No, don't get me anything. I'm serious, don't surprise me with a funny shirt or something, okay? I don't like the sound of that. Slipping on her shoes, she yells goodbye to the otherwise empty house and opens the door to leave, letting a cool breath of fresh air into the hallway. A tuft of dark hair peeking from the doorframe tells me Shizune is waiting for her outside. Good morning. Misha translates for me from beyond the doorway, and Shizune turns around to give me a small wave. Even though it's different from her usual offhand greetings in the smallest of ways, there's an unmistakable hesitation there. It leaves me with a vaguely empty and distant feeling. Hee-chan, you're up early. Am I interrupting a conversation? I was trying to get Misha to teach me how to talk to you, but I guess I was being impatient, and it can wait. You two were planning on going shopping today anyway. Having Misha there, I forget to sign my words as I say them. Unfortunately, since Shizune moved to fill the doorway, Misha's behind her. This brief misalignment in our positions means that what I'm saying is totally lost on her. I don't understand you at all. There are things I want to say that I can't put in a way she would understand, and there are entire conversations that she could have that would go right over my head. I want to tell her now that it won't be that way for much longer. Instead, I just say never mind and tell them to have a good time, then wave them off. It seems like everyone's out for the day, so I sit down on the biggest and most comfortable-looking chair in the living room with a book. Not a sign language book, but one of the novels I checked out of the library my first week. Wow, that thing's gonna be major overdue. That was so long ago. I really should start chipping at that pile of books I borrowed, or at least return them. Ah, Christ, here we go again. 16 pages in, Jigoro walks into the room, a stack of papers in one hand and his sword twirling idly like a baton in the other, casually shaking water off from a recent shower from his hair. Upon being seen doing something so ungentlemanly, he freezes like a deer in the headlights and slowly moves on to smoldering with a powerful but baseless fury as he sits down on the couch a few feet away. This is only the third time I've met him, and I'm already starting to feel nauseous on reaction. Welcome to the club, Izo. I guess in a way this could be considered a kind of charisma. I haven't even said anything, and he already seems less than pleased. It's likely a bad idea to provoke him, and just talking to him may count as provoking him. However, I can't help thinking of the alternative situations that could play out. Let's say I don't open my mouth at all and walk away. Maybe to go read in my room or outside. That would definitely go down as an unforgivable insult. He'd probably tell me to hold it and destroy me. Either way, not too polite on my part. What are you reading? The draft from my autobiography. It's the story of a man who wakes up to find an uninvited guest in his living room, sitting in his chair and reading shallow literary dreck. I've barely started reading this book. I don't have an opinion on it yet. You can already see how this conversation is going to play out, so I might as well try to steer it in a different direction. Where's Hideaki? You even ask questions rudely. Disgraceful. That aside, why would you even ask me such a stupid question? How would I know? Am I my son's keeper? Well, you are his dad, and he seems like he does live here, so... But I guess I can't say that, tempting as it is. I give up. I already tried to make small talk with him and failed. It's like trying to talk to a brick wall that also hates you. This is my cue to leave and sift through my wallet to see if I have enough money to go to a movie. As I'm about to stand, I have second thoughts. I'm too tired to go through trying to smooth over my problematic situations, but by trying to continuously walk away from them. It's hypocritical of me to get upset at Misha for trying to defer things when even I run from my own girlfriend. When Jigoro attempts to stop me, I'm almost glad, even though I no longer have any intention to leave. Wait. He says it with plenty of authority, but nothing else, as if it's just a particularly commanding afterthought. Or only a very powerful or very arrogant person can tell someone to hold on in such a manner. I'm sort of impressed. You're in the student council with Shizune, aren't you? What's your job there? I don't think there are specific roles other than president. Shizune is always trying to round up people to help out here and there. Usually we might get like one person to pitch in, but otherwise the three of us do whatever needs to be done. It's crossed my mind a couple of times around when I first met her that Shizune's disquietingly analytical stare might be because of her deafness, but it turns out it's a trait shared by everyone in our family. And that's okay with you? Why wouldn't it be? You, Shizune, and that pink-haired girl? Is that really your entire student council? With a student council that small, they wouldn't even bother to hold elections. I'm going to take a guess and say that you didn't join the student council. Shizune drafted you into it. You said you don't know exactly what your title is. That makes sense. I suppose if you weren't even elected, you couldn't be expected to know. After all, if you're not elected, you aren't really anything. No one's going to respect a student council like that. An unelected body of 3 people trying to scrounge up an equivalent of temp workers. Must be a sorry school if 3 kids having a tea party can handle every issue. What's how small it is have to do with anything? If the student council gets things done, isn't that enough? It's not just a game, either. Maybe you should actually come to the school one day. If you get there on the right days, you might even be able to see what Shizune is able to accomplish. You think I have so much free time that I can afford to waltz over to your boondocks and watch my daughter's feats of self-aggrandizement? I've never been more disgusted in my life. Well, what you're saying is they might as well not have a student council, but the fact remains there is one. And Shizune got elected to it. And for her, it isn't a meaningless position. In fact, she works very hard for it. You sound like someone who voted for her. Nah, I wasn't there for that. Ha! You didn't even vote for her. Well, besides that, why don't you ask Hideaki about this? Shizune has always wanted to be a high school student council president since middle school. She would have him read all her practice speeches, wasting his time. For what reason? This whole time, he hasn't even looked up from thumbing through his manuscript. It's getting increasingly frustrating. Because it isn't a game. We don't run the school, but it's not like we're just playing at it and not taking it seriously. I wonder if it's so wrong to not be a purist. I have been to your school. Really, the students there. I can already think of about 1,000,000 things he might say, and I'm preparing my heart to sink at hearing any one of them. It's funny, they're probably things I've thought before. They don't even have cleaning duty. That was not what I expected at all. He's also wrong. They do. I should know. I get to skip out on it since I'm in student council. The concept of being wrong confuses Jigoro. I think I should take this opportunity to go on the attack. It's really odd that I'm thinking of it this way about a simple conversation. Sounds like the last time you were there was really some time ago. If you can leisurely write some memoirs, you could talk to Shizune now and then. Don't you think she has stuff that she's proud of? That's how young people are. We have things to be proud of. If you're writing an autobiography, you should get that. Such an opportunity, and I blew it. I don't know how I was expecting him to react. Maybe introspectively, but Jigoro only grows angrier by the second. Yet as he does, he also seems calmer in a way. More sure of himself and in control. Who do you think you are to assume that my life is so easy? You haven't even read my biography, and yet you're able to tell me how I should handle all my affairs, including dealing with my own daughter. You could never understand. Even if I were to get up from this couch, walk over to you right now, and punch you in the forehead with brass knuckles with a condensed edition of my life story on them, leaving my biography imprinted on your face, you would not understand. For 12 years, Shizune did not even talk to me, even though I hired multiple tutors and interpreters of all sorts for her to try and get her to become normal. It isn't as simple as you think it is. If she does not want to bother with me, then fine. I assume that's normal. When was the last time you talked to your parents? It has been a while, and I feel ashamed. More so that he caught me than at how easily I could have dropped my parents a phone call or sent them an email or even a letter and haven't. The knowledge even makes me feel more ashamed. I thought so. If I wanted to see my parents, I couldn't. This is different. You aren't that far from her. It's one train ride away. That's enough. No means no. You're very persistent. If only it was about something that mattered. I can't see what you may have learned from my daughter aside from that and how to backtalk people. Is that it? The answer is yes. I wasn't this persistent or argumentative before meeting Shizune and Misha. After all, prior to meeting them, I just experienced a small death. It's a mystery as why I refused to join the student council in the first place. Possibly it was from trying to get away from their nagging so much as that I was able to get my energy back. It's a cute idea. I think again about why I'm still here. Arguing with Jigoro was pointless, yet I think I almost looked forward to it. And he's right, I can't understand him. Even if I did, I wouldn't care. I'm a louse that crawls on a whale, wholly insignificant. He has a confidence that I don't have. Shizune does, and it could be the reason I'm here now in an almost shouting match with her father is because some of that bravery is rubbed off on me. However, I don't have anything to keep it going. Still, I hate him. I don't know what I can do. A few months ago, I think I would have punched him and let the consequences play out as they may. But now, I can't risk it. If he were to hit me back, he'd likely literally kill me. So, in the end, the only thing I can do is look at Jigoro in silence, knowing that I have no reply, and hate him, and feel completely at a loss. Oddly, he takes it as defiance. Fine then. Have fun with that. Picking up his sword and using it to pull himself to his feet, he turns and casually saunters out of the room. I want to throw my book after him, but I'm happy to finally be alone, even if I'm not in the mood to read anymore. Well. In all fairness, I probably should cut this episode off here, considering the last episode ran really long. But I'm going to keep going. Our return trip to the school keeps getting delayed in one way or another. Shizune and Misha come back so late, there's no use in even leaving, and we end up staying another day. The morning after, we miss the train by a single minute, and then the next two don't arrive. We missed the fourth train because I wandered off to get a drink in the meantime. Shizune wasn't very happy about that. By the time I finally get back to my room, I feel so tired. Even though I spent most of the ride back sleeping, I can't say it's only because of today. This seems like a familiar symptom of traveling. It's not the first time it's happened. If no one has beaten me to it, I could do a thesis on it. Maybe get in a medical journal. Returning from a trip syndrome. Not very creative. I fall asleep before I can think of a better name. Yeah. A loud knock on my door only wakes me up only a few hours into my nap. I'm annoyed because I'd been in the middle of a dream that I can't remember, having been woken up in the middle of it, but I'm sure it was a good one. I briefly wonder who it could be, but it's not like I get many visitors, so I'm sure it's Kenji. I hope he's just rolling out the welcome wagon and not going to hit me up for money again. If that were the case, I'd almost be touched. Not touched enough to fight off the urge to roll over and go back to sleep, though. A few hours after that, I wake up again and immediately spot the envelope on the floor. Oh, gravy. It must be something that came in the mail while I was away. That's Shizune and Misha's department, so I wonder if they dropped by to give it to me. Or maybe someone filled in for them in their absence and told Kenji to pass it along. When I pick it up, any remnants of sleepiness in me instantly vanish. Even if the name of the sender wasn't on it, I would have known who it was from looking at the envelope itself and realizing why it looked so familiar, by recognizing the delicate handwriting addressing it. It's from Iwanako. At first, I can't believe it, but it wouldn't be too hard for her to track me down if she wanted to. Of course, I hadn't thought she'd want to. She was maybe my girlfriend for all of 5 seconds. After that, we barely spoke to each other. It'd be too easy to put this letter away somewhere and forget about it. A part of me wants to do that, or throw it away unread. Why want to do these things I don't know? It'd be easy to do them. Easier than to read it. Slitting the envelope open with the tip of my pen, I'm surprised by the length of the letter that spills out. Dear Hisao, how are you? I hope you're well and happy at your new school. Everyone here misses you. Almost all of our second-year class got put together in Class 3-1 for the final year, so we're pretty comfortable right from the beginning of the year. I'm sure you would have been assigned to this class as well. The mood among the third years seems to be very anxious about the final exams, even though they're so far away. The teachers are badgering us all about it all the time, even old Mr. Tachibana, who is, by the way, our homeroom teacher this year. Would you believe it? I was sure that he'd retire after our second year, but here he is, nagging everyone about studying for exams. I think things like that are the main reason why the mood among us third years is so nervous. I must admit that I'm somehow losing confidence in myself as well, even though I've always fared reasonably well in exams. The small talk makes me feel nostalgic. It's almost like I'm in the hospital again. Every now and then, Iwanako would drop by and give me the gist of what was going on in the class that, even then, I had an inkling that I would never return to. It's so weird to think we're already seniors, isn't it? Time has really flown past. I wonder where it went. The new first years seem so young and somehow really innocent. I keep wondering if I was like them in my first year. I've been feeling nostalgic like this for the whole first trimester. There are other things I want to say. I'm writing to you because I felt like there are things I should have said after the incident back in winter. I really regret that I wasn't able to say them in person, and I have no excuse for it. The truth is, the times when I visited you at the hospital made me worried about you. I'm not talking about your health. You seem to become more distant, disheartened. It was natural after something like that happened, I'm sure, but somehow I got the feeling that you'd given up on something back then. Happiness, maybe? I wanted to somehow express my feelings, but the right words didn't come to me. I couldn't say anything to comfort you. I'm really sorry for not being able to support you when it mattered the most, even though I like you so much. At least now, finally, I can be more honest. What a convenient time for her to rediscover her sincerity. Well, even as I think that, I know she's right. Distant and disheartened is a good way to describe it, and maybe I had given up too. It weighs on my heart when I think back to when I was lying in that hospital, feeling so bitter when she finally stopped showing up. I wasn't surprised, and I had no right to be. How could she not stop coming when it was the only expectation I had of her? She dropped by only for all of 6 weeks after the incident. If I drifted away from her, it was because I could feel her already moving herself away from me the moment she showed up. If I could go back to those quiet days in February and March, I'd tell you not to give up on yourself. That's what I would say. Maybe you wouldn't have drifted so far away if I had just said something. I hope you've managed to get back on your feet on your own. Now that the distance between us is also physical, it feels more final. Somehow I wonder if we will meet again. Perhaps it's best if we don't? Still, if you would like to correspond with me, by all means write me back. I'd very much like to hear about your new school and how you're doing. I wish you all the best. Sincerely, Iwanako. It's a strange feeling. I know I'm never going to hear from her again. If she really wanted to keep in touch, she wouldn't have picked a medium like snail mail to do it through. If she could get my address, then my email or phone number wouldn't have been much more work had she wanted them. This is only a goodbye. I exhale, only now just becoming aware that I've been reading with bated breath. Now who's being distant, Iwanako? But maybe it really is for the best. For her to pick up a pen and write this letter to me, it can only be because she felt guilty about how things ended. That she was hurt by how we floated out of each other's lives makes me feel a sort of wistful happiness. I almost want to thank her, and I only don't because I know she wouldn't want me to reply. There's a knock at my door, then it opens anyway about a millisecond later. I forgot to lock it stupidly. And guess who? Sup, man, why's your door open? I run to the door faster than it's probably medically safe for me to do so I can prevent Kenji from seeing the mountains of pills just a couple of feet away from him, blocked from his sight by only the door. Then there's the letter I'm holding. If he asks about it, I don't think I could make up anything convincing. About 2 feet away from him, I realize that his vision is so bad that it probably was never an issue. He didn't even see me about to practically tackle him back through the door frame. Hey, what the hell, man? What are you talking about? Your room has like a billion locks on it, yet you just barge right through other people's doors? You didn't even wait a second after knocking before you tried the door. It was like simultaneous. You were already opening the door while you were knocking on it. See? That's exactly why I have all those locks. It's a cold and uncaring world out there. Gatecrasher's world. Now you also understand. I just taught you a valuable lesson, dude. Knowledge is power. Why are you yelling at me? I'm a hero. Look at you. You didn't even lock your door. The average woman could have killed you a billion times already. And then replaced you with a female clone indistinguishable from the original. It almost happened to me. Ignoring the latter part since it's too confusing, it's funny you should say that. He was unable to stop me from tackling him head on, yet apparently a woman could have killed me a billion times. If this man is a hero, we are all doomed. What's that you got there? Somehow he's able to still see the letter still in my hand. With how I've been waving it around, that's no surprise. I fold it back up quickly, but take care not to whip it behind my back or anything else. That'd be too suspicious. Seems like I'm jumpier than I thought I would be about Iwanako writing to me. I got a letter. Oh yeah, I put that there. I was sleeping, then I woke up because I heard explosions. I put on my helmet and peeked outside to see what was going on, but it was just that student councilwoman banging on your door. It was the one without pink hair. She was knocking so loudly that it was obvious she was filled with murderous rage. Rage at you. Then somehow she sensed me behind her. I tried to escape, but it was too late. She caught me and started pointing at the door. I opened my mouth to tell him that she's deaf, but decided not to, for various reasons. I didn't really get it. She got more and more pissed off like an old man trying to use a touchscreen phone. She's gonna kill me. Kill me and replace me with a woman version of me. But then the sunlight reflected off my glasses and blinded her, saving my life. It was like, behold, optic blast! If you get that reference, go outside. Oh, Jesus. I don't get how someone with glasses can be hurt by glasses. She uses them too. She should be immune to their death rays, but whatever. She gave me this envelope with your name on it and just left. Clearly, she was out for blood, so I lied and said you were away. I think you were away, right? I've been trying to ask you if you wanted to help me with my homework for a week now, but I kept getting no answer. Welcome back, man. Thanks. Yeah, so she gave me this envelope that had your name on it. I didn't want to hold on to it because what if it was a bomb? So I just shoved it under your door when she was gone. I was going to tell you, but you got back before I could. At least it's not a bomb. Gee, thanks. I'm not going to help you out with your math homework, because what if your math textbook is a bomb? He looks devastated, and also like he's considering the possibility that it really could be a bomb. I guess it's possible, since no one really uses their math book all that much. I throw the letter on the dresser behind me and turn to leave, swinging the door shut behind me as I do. It collides against the tip of Kenji's shoe and bounces back open, while he hops around for a bit, acting like it hurt way more than it should have. Before I know it, he's already inside my room. I'm powerless to stop him before he scoops up the letter, strangely ignoring the towers of pill bottles surrounding it. Don't just read mail that isn't your own. Come on, man, what is it? A love letter from your girlfriend? Did she include any photos? Sexy photos? Reclining against the dresser and paying no mind to the bottles of pills he sends all over the floor by doing so, Kenji quietly reads through Iwanako's letter. The process takes seemingly forever, and with how close he holds it up to his face, it makes it look like he's trying to eat it. Who's Iwanako? My ex-girlfriend. Ex-girlfriend, huh? This is the breakup letter, then. I thought they were a myth. No, I guess it is, but really, she's been my ex-girlfriend for a while. Anyway, I think I'm already over it. Kenji gives a thumbs up, clearly relieved that I'm not going to take this into an awkward direction, although I almost want to since I told him not to read it. Yeah, that's a good attitude. It's alright. I had a bad breakup too, but you can't let it get you down. I mean, just look at me. But hey, she wrote you a letter. Maybe she wants to get back together, huh? It says right there, write her back. You should do it. Is she cute? For a guy who thinks feminists are working to enslave men everywhere, he really is interested in cute girls. I have a girlfriend. Besides, look at the context. She doesn't want me to write back. Just because that's what it says and that isn't what she means. But that's what she wrote. That rockfish kid chick totally still wants you. It even says right there. I read it. I know what it says. I told you have to look at the context. She said I drifted away from her, and everything there shows she accepted that. I think the reason she wrote to me is because she just wants to, I guess, part amicably. But we're done. She doesn't want to get back together or whatever you're thinking. As I think about it more, it sounds like I'm just trying to make excuses for myself. That's not a good place to be. I'm positive that she doesn't want me to write her back. I can live with that. If I were to write her back and get a less than desirable response or no response, then I'd just be crushed. Perhaps the fear of that is why I'm trying to justify my decision. It could be, but I don't want to think about it. The thought's oddly repulsive. Why is this such a big deal to you, anyway? Because you should write back to her. She wants you to. I want to see what the response is going to be. Damn it, it doesn't even have to be a nice letter. That's cool too, but you could write an angry letter and call her out. It's my new attack strategy. I'm just going to call women out. You should try it. Even if she wrote me a letter, you have to understand what that means. Writing someone a letter is different now. It's not just something you do. Not in this kind of situation. You can pick up your phone and call someone across the world in an instant. Talk to them like they were there with you. Or send them an email. They'll be notified instantly that they got it and can just reply back like that. A letter can be a personal thing, but she wanted to keep me at an arm's distance. It's not like I'd just pop over there and visit her. If I had her number, I could call her. Or if I had her mail, I could mail her. If she really wanted to hear back from me, she would have dropped one of those in there. I feel silly for continuously reassuring myself that I'm not fazed by Iwanako writing to me when it's so obvious that I am. It could be a gradual thing for her. She might be too shy to call you up. I remember my girlfriend would always send me text messages because she was so shy. It was annoying as hell, man. I didn't really give a shit about phones, so I didn't have the thing, and it turns out I had to pay for every single one. But I don't like phones, so I couldn't even call her back to tell her to cut that out. I did it anyway, though. I called her out. I even used the phone. It was literally the call out. I guess it was. Even if he's right, it means that Iwanako still wants to keep her distance from me. She's not ready to chat with me comfortably. Why, am I some kind of freak? I'm not reassured by her actions anyway in that case. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I just don't know. Kenji can't think of anything to say to that, and the silence that follows is so awkward and thick that I start to count the seconds until he makes a reason to leave and excuses himself. I miss her. Your ex? Yeah. Even if she was insane, it was nice being with her. My back hurts. If she were still around, I could tell her to massage it. I don't know how to use an oven either. I miss baked food. And we go bowling in the hallway sometimes. I miss that too. I had to bowl all by myself during that last festival. You bowl in the hallway? You're gonna hit someone. She used to say that all the time. Kenji sighs nostalgically, clearly not appreciating just how badly someone can get hurt by slipping on a bowling pin. Apparently neither did his girlfriend since she bowled with him. What a strange definition of love, but I guess it's something. Maybe you should write her a letter. If she writes back, you can get married. Married? No. Okay, fine, but why not? You clearly like her even though you hate women. Feminists! Not women, feminists! There's a difference. There are non-feminist women. Damn, your discrimination is incredible. Correlation doesn't equal causation. Even if she is insane and a woman, doesn't mean she's a feminist insane woman. It's like how the absence of evidence isn't the evidence of absence. If it's true, then by the relative property, the presence of evidence doesn't equal the evidence of presence. Actually, I think it is. And I don't think it's called the relative property. No, shut up, it's mathematics. You saying math is wrong? I think he's wrong. So even Kenji has someone that he likes. I'm tempted to ask why he and his ex broke up, or to dig for more information in general, but I shouldn't. Not only would it be prying, but he might reverse the question back to me. This conversation makes me think about Shizune, although the thoughts I'm having are scattered and wispy. Just questions. I wonder if I even had the chance to love you, Iwanako. Or no, I wonder if I even had the chance to love Iwanako, and this whole situation with her still stings me, a sour note in the back of my mind. I like Shizune much more, yet it feels like I'm chasing her, even now. I don't mind the chase, but I want to close that distance between us. Iwanako's letter is responsible, but I also felt this way for a while. I've come closer, but it's not enough. I want to try again, right now. I tell Kenji to get the hell out so I can change and then head for the student council room. And with that, this episode's running for over 40 minutes now. So, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here. Oh boy, what a day. This has been quite the episode, huh, folks? Well, in closing, I'll go ahead and say that Kenji just revealed to us some very interesting information, and unfortunately, you guys are only going to get a few more bits and pieces of that story as we go through Rin and Lily's paths, and you won't actually be able to hear the entire story, at least the rest of the entire story, that'll really tell you the important parts, shall we say, until I start doing the bonus videos that include the bad ending. There's one particular bad ending in particular that you can get in Act 1. There's literally only one bad ending you can get in Act 1, and it's the same bad ending no matter how you get it. There's a bad ending technically on everybody's on all the girls' paths, but it's really just a paired definition of how you want to say it's bad or not. But anyway, I'm rambling again. So, for episode 15 of Let's Play Katawa Shoujo, Shizune's Path, I'm your host, NeoMegaMan, signing out again. See you later, programs. End of line.